Let's talk about one of the toughest, most hair-pulling parts of making software, debugging. For decades, it's been a one-on-one battle between a developer and their code, powered by coffee and pure grit. But now, a powerful new challenger has stepped into the ring.
And that's the big question, isn't it? In this head-to-head showdown between artificial intelligence and good old human intuition, who really wins when it's time to squash some bugs? Let's break it down.
So first, let's make sure we're on the same page. Debugging is pretty much detective work for code. You're hunting down clues, finding the culprit, and fixing the problem. This is the arena where our two contenders are going to face off.
All right, first up, let's meet the challenger, artificial intelligence. It's the new kid on the block, and it's showing up with a totally different playbook.
So what exactly is AI bringing to the fight? Well, like any great contender, it's got some incredible, almost unbelievable superpowers. But it also has some pretty serious weaknesses we need to talk about.
I mean, just think about the raw power here. AI can rip through thousands of lines of code in the time it takes you to blink. It's a master at spotting patterns. You know, those common mistakes a human might miss after staring at a screen for hours. It can jump between Python, JavaScript, and Rust without that mental burnout we all feel. And of course, it never gets tired, it never gets frustrated, and it definitely never needs a coffee break. It is always on.
But here it is, AI's kryptonite. It can be confidently wrong. And this is a huge deal. An AI can give you a solution that sounds absolutely perfect, totally logical, but when you use it, it actually breaks everything. It just doesn't have that deep intuitive feel for the entire system, and that creates a massive reliability problem.
And that brings us to our reigning champion, the human developer. We're talking years of experience, battle-tested intuition, and a completely different way of solving problems.
Now, just like we did with AI, we've got to be honest here. Humans have some amazing superpowers that AI just can't touch, but we also have some very, well, human limitations. This is where people really shine. A developer doesn't just see code, they see the whole system. They know the history, the architecture, what piece connects to what. They have that gut feeling that connects two problems that seem totally unrelated. They can think way outside the box for some bizarre new bug AI has never even heard of. And, maybe most importantly, they understand why the code is there in the first place, which is absolutely critical for fixing major issues in a live system. But here's our big weakness, and it's the exact opposite of one of AI's greatest strengths. Every single time a developer has to jump from one complex task to another, there's a huge mental cost. Productivity just tanks. An AI can juggle 5 programming languages at once, no problem. But for us, those constant interruptions are a massive handicap in the debugging fight.
Okay, so we've seen the strengths and weaknesses of both sides. Now let's go to the tail of the tape. Let's get a scorecard going and see where each of these contenders actually wins. AI totally crushes it in any task that's about speed, repetition, and known patterns. We're talking about syntax errors, typos, finding a missing comma, fixing a simple broken test. It's an absolute powerhouse for all that grunt work. You know, the repetitive stuff that just drains a developer's energy. But when the stakes get really high, the champion is still the champion. When you're talking about a massive production outage, a sneaky security flaw, or some bizarre networking problem, that's where the human is just irreplaceable. These are the kinds of bugs where you have to understand the entire big picture, not just a few lines of code.
So after all that, who wins the showdown? Well, you know, looking at the scorecard, maybe we've been asking the wrong question all along. Maybe this isn't a boxing match. Maybe it's a tag team championship. And that brings us to the real takeaway. AI is an accelerator, not a replacement. It's not here to take the developer's job. It's here to make the human champion even better, faster, and stronger. Think of it as the ultimate new tool in the toolbox. So here's how the winning formula works. The human is the strategist. They bring the high-level judgment, the deep system knowledge. Then they tag in the AI to provide that raw speed and automation to execute the plan. The result? It's not a winner and a loser. It's the most powerful debugging team the world has ever seen. So we'll leave you with this thought. The future of debugging isn't about choosing team human or team AI. It's about figuring out the absolute best way for them to work together. The real question isn't who wins, but how do we build the best team?